Hello, hello, and welcome back, everybody, to Power Up with Pride, Winter 2018. I am your new host for this evening for the next few hours. I am Glitchless, and I am joined by MemoryTAS and Latin Mackie, you may recognize from the past run, so please introduce and say hi to yourselves.
Hello, I'm Memory. I'm a TASer and current staff and judge of TASvideos.org.
And I'm Lab Mackie. I run various Bonks games on different consoles. You may have just recognized me 5 minutes ago. But I also wanted to throw a shout out to Memory. Memory actually helped the Bonks Revenge tasks as well. She had a couple of inputs on there. And so thank you, Memory, for all your work with tasking this game.
No problem.
So if we are good to go, we can go ahead and move right into this.
So things will be happening very quickly in this run. So I want to knock this out of the way. This is Bonk's Adventure, the first Bonk game, first release of the first Bonk game. Because I'm not going to have time to explain any of that. Alright. Count it. Alright. So, should I give a countdown?
Yeah, I can do it for you, or you could do that yourself.
So I'm going to be going by task timing, which is start of input, which is, power on. Alright, so I'll give a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, this is Memory, and this is Bonk's Adventure, my task of the game. This is the first time most people will be seeing it, and a lot of stuff happened. So, first, Bonk normally walks slow. Recoiling off a flower will allow you to move much faster than normal. Hovering is also jumping into the air, and hovering by repeatedly pressing the attack button lets you keep that speed for longer. Also, you can damage boost, and that keeps the speed.
And I have tried some of these strats, and actually some of them, to a certain extent, are actually RTA viable. So you can actually implement this strat into certain parts of a speed run.
So the important thing in this game is that the floor is lava. Also, here I grab a meat power-up because it's impossible to keep a flower boost throughout the entire level. So I need to make that jump here. The meat power-ups, like in Revenge, will temporarily allow you to move faster. There's not quite as much, diversity in, the speeds. And it's slightly slower than flower boost, but it's still faster. Every time you land on the ground in this game, you temporarily get set to speed 3, which is slightly slower than normal walking. So try to avoid landing.
I think that's kind of a general rule, too, for almost any speed run. The less you land on your head, the better.
Not even on your head, just land on your feet, even.
Nice.
You temporarily get set to speed 3. Here, I abused some bouncing to get, quick height while swimming. It's normally really slow. And coming up is the first boss.
Remember, I love your route through that lava, by the way, or that water. It's so impossible, but so great.
There I do a little flip to get speed faster. And all bosses in this game take more damage by bonking them with your head from above. It does double damage, as opposed to jumping into them from below. Also, I try to have Bonk and the boss end as close to their ending positions as possible, so they have to walk as minimally as possible after you beat it for the cutscene.
That actually saves quite a bit of time. If you're on the other side, it could take you or walking through that whole thing.
So I collected a smiley face because it causes the begin 2 round screen to end slightly faster.
I had no idea. How'd you find that out?
By being slower than the published task.
There you go.
And it's like, oh, I could do this on every stage.
Very cool.
That's like something I want to bring up in general. Is like why I really enjoy tasking is basically I get to find all this stuff out. Like I get to learn about games and like on a deeper level than like I would otherwise. Like, I've tried RTA and I couldn't really get into it, but tasking for whatever reason gels with me. For me, it's a lot about creativity and less getting my hands to cooperate because I'm really good at pressing the wrong buttons.
Memory, that level 2-1 looks so cool. You only touched the ground once. That's so cool.
Also, there I got an additional heart. That's useful for more damage base. Drops are basically completely luck, more or less. I can barely control them at all.
I don't think you actually touched the ground during that level at all. No. That's so impressive.
This stage is really wacky, so it's important to minimize the amount of sprites on screen. Like, I would kill some additional enemies, but, like, they might spawn smiley faces that cause lag.
So is the route you're taking there, is that a way to also lag them?
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
I found this meat to be slightly faster than not taking it. One of the big things about meat is obviously moves faster and you're invincible, but you also can jump higher. And that's important for, like, skipping one touching the ground. Alright, so one thing about Bonk's adventure, if you're doing a flower boost chain, you can't turn back around. Like, you can face forward, but then you can't face backwards again. So, if you try to hold the opposite direction, you'll just slow down. And that's obviously not good, so I can only turn around once. Here's Vine stage. The ropes allow you to move slightly faster, but flower boosting is still faster than that. I think it's like speed 6 on the vines to speed 7 on the flower boost. There's one thing faster than the flower boost, and I'll be covering that when I get to it.
Are those frogs RNG, or are they jumping at a determined spot?
Predetermined. I think it's time-based.
Okay, got it. Because you didn't touch the ground at all. That was really impressive.
Oh, this is a unique state. Where you mainly climb. You can sort of rotate into the branches, like the horizontal ones, and you'll sort of get zipped up if you do that.
I love how he uses his teeth to climb.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sprites. Bonk sprites, but all Bonk sprites are amazing. So I intentionally skipped that big meat here because alright, so bouncing off the clouds gets me to speed 5. Meat is speed 6, but the important thing is I need the meat for the upcoming boss. I'm sure you'll know why that.
Yep.
This boss without a meat is terribly slow.
Forever.
Compared to the previous task, I grabbed a closer meat because it allowed me to do the entire thing as the second most powered up state.
There's a meat you can grab too before. I'm guessing you fight the boss powered up in the boss rush as well, because I believe there's a meat before this boss there as well.
Sort of.
Oh yeah, it'd be the second. Yeah, it'd take a while to get there. Now I'm thinking about.
You got a moment for a donation or two?
Yes. Very quick.
Oh, let's just go with Alia A with $80, saying, why haven't I heard of Power Up with Pride before a couple weeks ago? Thank you for doing this for all.
Awesome.
There I grabbed another heart. I had to slow down for it, but it's still worth it because more damage boost. In this game, if you get hit, you'll get sent in whatever direction is like, whatever side you get hit by the enemy. So, like, if you're hit on the left side of the enemy, you'll get sent left. If you're hit by the right, you'll move right. And that is important, but, like, so you don't want to get hit by the left side of enemies, because then you'll get sent left at the same speed. Alright, here's an important skip. Don't fall here, ever. If you fall there, you have to do a water level. So here is ice stage, and if you land after a flip on the ice, you'll slide on the ice at speed 5, which is faster than walking. And if you slide on the ice on the vertical slopes, you'll gain speed. The biggest slope I got 9 speed off of, and there's a minor skip where I skipped landing on the iceberg that you're supposed to land on.
If you're just playing this game casually or as RTA, it's jumping up and down and jumping off of steps like that are really kind of a drag because it slows you down quite a bit. So the fact you can do it on the ice is... Oh wow, nice! Right into there. Oh, yeah. So good looking.
I timed it perfectly just so I gain like walking speed as soon as the elevator, and there I slid into the boss, so I reached it a little faster. On this boss, you can get additional hits for the next phase, and that reduces like each phase by 1 hit. And there I end the boss while it's in the ground still.
Fighting this boss RTA, you can easily get double hits on him per phase, but that third hit, that's a super challenging one. That was a really good boss fight. Really nice.
So coming up is the shortest world of the game. It's 2 screens. One is the boss, but the first screen is a bit long compared to normal. So here's a sort of mistake the first TAS made, where I got this meat spawning dinosaur to appear. If you don't kill those first 2 enemies, that enemy won't spawn, and you won't be able to get the meat. The previous TAS missed that.
Interesting.
But it saves plenty of time. Because it's meat. Like, before
exactly.
Flower boosting.
I mean, as I mentioned during the revenge run, like so much of the where you get meat and how you keep your meat through a specific part of the game.
Getting hit while in a meat state doesn't cause damage, it just powers you down a stage. Also, like, maintaining height can be tricky in this stage, but it's done. Alright, so this boss is Punchy Pedro. In this boss, he tries to punch you and stuff, but you can get him into a bit of a loop, as you can see, depending on your position and stuff. And I still managed to get him pretty close to the center.
And that's a really cool strat, because that's actually RTA viable. You're actually able actual controls too, because of how floaty. Bonk is really floaty in this compared to, so that's really cool.
In later games, Bonk moves flowers when you bonk them, instead of recoiling off them. So flower boosting is not possible in any later Bonk games. I think it's only possible in also the NES version of this game, which I actually tasked first. Though I watched the task of this one first, and I'm like, I think I can defeat this. And yeah, this is another vertical level, and this world in general is the longest world. In general, Bonk last stages seem to be pretty long. And this next stage sucks for tassing. Alright, so here I jump off that bar because it gets me to speed 5. Not really that important. But here, whatever enemies I attack and don't attack affect the rest of the stage. So like, if I don't attack certain ones, later ones might spawn or not spawn, and that's really important for making it last as long as possible. Also, here I make a cycle that the previous test didn't make.
Oh man, nice, nice.
Alright, and now here's the most important skip of the game. And it's done. They don't put an invisible ceiling or anything there, so you can just jump over the wall and go straight to the end. Otherwise, you have to do a minute-long water stage.
Yes, no way. Is that possible to do that in real life?
Yeah.
I had no idea. That is so cool.
Oh, I found it out from the SDA run.
Oh, fantastic. Wow, I had no idea. That's great. I'm going to try that out in my next playthrough.
It's so much time, and it's the worst water stage, too.
Oh, it is. It just takes forever. It just takes forever.
You can also just jump straight out of the water and do it. Alright, so here I have to make sure that one dinosaur before the flower boost goes right so it doesn't get in my way.
I do have to mention, you know, we've been using this acronym that stands for time attack. Basically, what a speed run is done by a person. So,
yeah.
So I was going.
And a tool assisted speed run is basically it's not an AI playing the game. I made all these inputs myself. It's just I did it while at like frame advanced speed, which means I control the speed. I also know certain information people can't normally. Like I have access to memory addresses and stuff. And here's the tower stage. These platforms fall away. Interesting thing I discovered about the falling platforms: if you jump just right off on them, so you just barely land on them and then jump immediately, you'll start to float a little before you actually finish the jump animation and start jumping. So you might notice Bonk floating a little while he's jumping.
Yeah, it's super. That's actually really that's really cool.
And here's the most boring part of the run, where you hold left. You might want to fit a donation in here, if there are any.
Oh yeah, I've got at least one for you. This is $10 from Easy Games. Say, hey Memory and Lat, sorry I couldn't watch the TAS live, but I hope things are going well. That Bonk boy better be spinning fast.
He is. And I'm sorry about the 2 times I obsoleted your TASs.
Oh no. Beebner says in the chat, if you bonk in the game, you bonk in real life. So true, Beebner. So true. There's no way to skip this. We haven't found a glitch yet that can break.
No.
Chance. Dang.
One more donation, I guess.
Go for
Unfortunately,
it.
no comment on this one, but $50 from Yuli.
Alright, so here is a waterfall section where if you repeatedly tap the jump button, Bonk will climb slowly and then make a jump. For whatever reason, in all later Bonk games, the jump part is removed, but you can combine this with damage boosts and bouncing to get more height. The jumping part isn't even in the NES version of this game, which is strange. All later Bonks, you climb up waterfalls relatively slow. And so normally, I make a little detour here. This meat is still worth it. Barely, but it's worth it.
Interesting.
Obviously, I'm not carrying the invincibility to the boss fight because there's going to be a bunch of cutscenes, but for one, it makes the first boss go really fast. And I get one hit off with the first powered up stage of Bonk. It's not amazing, but it's just enough to cut out one of the split attacks.
Which, I mean, because there's an animation associated with it, that's definite time you're saving.
Yeah.
For sure.
Also, I try to time, like, walking into the, door, like, you know, the rising blocks, just so I can walk through them without stopping, and yet still walk through them as soon as possible.
I love the turnbacks there with Bonk.
I think my favorite part of that task is just the idle dances you can program
Yeah.
in while you're not doing anything else.
That's one of the most important parts of tasking, is figuring out how to make the character dance.
There's always got to be a dance, absolutely. Okay, same strat here with this boss.
Yeah, except the ending position doesn't matter as much, because it just ends after a determinate amount of time. So here, I actually trigger the platform to fall away and then jump off it, so I could fall through it a little sooner and quicker. And this is my favorite boss of the task. Tractor Head? T-Raptor Head? I don't even know how to pronounce it. But, alright, you just block off the antenna, but seems normal. And then you get these stars, and you bounce up, you bonk your head off them, so you don't jump as high.
RTA, that boss's hitbox is ridiculous, just to let you know. It's so challenging.
And, like, so I did the shuriken, like, I had Bonk hit the shuriken from below, so he wouldn't rise as high after he's bounced.
Because you take damage if you bounce up there. That's so awesome.
Yeah. And so coming up is the final level. So the plot of the game was to basically rescue her and take her back to Moonland, which is only half a moon in this game. We saw what happens to the other half of the moon in Revenge.
It all comes full circle.
I'm glad we could cover the full lore of what happened to the moon in this marathon.
I'd just like to point out that there's still not real moon gravity, but whatever. I can't complain about it too much.
Here I'm playing the floor is lava still, so I spin to the right rather than land.
Cool. Nice.
In this part, you get 3 hits at first, on the first phase, but then the second phase comes up and time is coming soon. Alright, so I can just bounce on him repeatedly and he won't move out of that. And time.
That's so cool. Is that a new strat? Or was that on the first task?
I think that was in the first task.
I will say RTA that drool, once again, another super challenging hitbox. It's just really challenging. Memory, such a great job with this. It's seeing a new strat, even in a things can be updated.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank my girlfriend for supporting me through this. I forget we were dating when I made this, but thank you anyway. And I'd like to thank TASvideos.org for hosting all my previous tasks. And I'd like to thank, you, Lat, for helping me commentate this. And I'd like to thank Powered Up with Pride for hosting this event.
We're always happy to have you.
I'm like this, trans issues and stuff are really personal to me. Like, I'm trans myself. And quite frankly, I would be a lot worse mentally off if I hadn't accepted myself. So I do whatever I can to help other people who went through this. Who are trans, gay, anything. And Bonk has a nude crush.
As always. Oh, I love it.
Oh, goodness.
This game doesn't actually have, like, staff credits. It just tells you the names of the enemies and bosses. The next game does tell you the staff. I don't know why this game doesn't actually have the credits for it, but that was Bonk's adventure.
It is possible the bosses have made this game. I'm not sure on that one, but that's what I'm going to take away.
Thank
The
you all.
inmates are really running the asylum in this game.
Thank you all for watching, I guess.
Oh, thank you, TAS, and thank you, Matt. I hope you all had a wonderful time. That was an absolutely amazing, amazing TAS run of that. I'd never seen Bonk before, and I liked the flying especially.
Yeah.